Come on, Ian, man. Come on. As Ian Wright just said there, people deluded. I'm back again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. Big up the regulars. If you're new here, you know you need to hit the subscription button. Please make sure we're smashing the like button if we're on YouTube. Appreciative to you lot on Twitch. Now, obviously, you've all seen Bukayo Saka's injury at this point. There's rumors of as optimistic as 4 weeks, as far back as 8 and 12, and we're going to get into all of that, people. I'm naturally, there's some people that don't support Arsenal that will rejoice in, hearing about a player's injury. Likewise, there's Arsenal fans who celebrated Rodri's injury. I can't speak for football fans who do that. I'm never going to be one of them, and I think that's reflected on my channel. You got to remember, this is somebody's health. Now, it's a bitter pill to swallow where Bukayo Saka's concerned. He's one of our best players. Goals win games. If he's not scoring, he's assisting. Where you want to win Premier League trophies and Premier League honours, you need, to have more answers than questions. And Saka's consistency level, his match winningness, and just all of that sort of stuff. Goals win games. He gives us that. So we're gonna have to get on with it. I'm gonna save my thoughts to the end, really. And I must admit, I have sympathy for Arsenal fans. I have sympathy for Bukayo Saka with this injury. What I don't have sympathy for is anybody, whether it's Arteta, the recently departed Edu, the Cronkies, etc. I've got no sympathy for any issues that with them where injuries are concerned with Arsenal Football Club, because we've been knowing this. A lot of the issues we have seen as a club, whether it's from a tactical point of view, the left-hand side, not having a striker, not having a winger for the left-hand side, as well as backup for Saka. A lot of these issues, potentially open play, goals from open play as well. These issues did not just arise in these 15, 16 games we've played, really and truly. Mikel Arteta again today has said we've got one of the finished squads. He said that in February of this year. And I'm not trying to point the finger at anyone. The club makes a big song and dance about collaborative nature. You're all in this. As I always give the example, I don't know about you lot, but growing up, I come from a family that has plenty. I've got plenty of cousins. And a lot of us are of a similar age. When you go to grandma's house and you're ramping and you're enjoying and whatever, and whatnot, and you're having fun, somebody breaks something. I don't know about you lot's grandma and granddad, but nobody is asking who did what. Everybody's getting slapped, so everyone's getting hurt. So they have to hold that, really and truly. So it is what it is, man. Like, it's the same old, like, and almost an improbable task of pipping Liverpool to this Premier League trophy just got more difficult. So the players are gonna have to get on with it. The club, whatever, injuries can happen. You need to know if Saka's out, who's stepping up. Whether I think they're good enough or not, this is the squad. You knew these things were a risk going into the season, so it is what it is. It's a bit of a double-edged sword because Raheem Sterling is going to be missing. But for me, Ethan Nwaneri, who could be a silver lining in this, in a sense, people, between Ethan on that right-hand side, Martinelli, who went over to that right-hand side, Trossard, and anybody else I've missed up. Gabriel Jesus is definitely an option out wide. Gonna have to get on with it, man. I don't want to see people feeling sorry for themselves. Our season is on the line now. We've been coping with injuries. Bukayo Saka is probably the biggest injury blow we've had, but every week we've got injuries. We're still trying to fight for the Premier League. You've got the Champions League that's far from concluded. Obviously, you've got a semi-finals, a two-legged semi-finals, and potentially a final in which Saka could be missing for that. It's all on the line, man. Gonna have to get on with it. January is not a nice fixture list, but this is the Premier League, man. I could sit here, and obviously there's reasons to be pessimistic and down in the dumps. I could sit here and do all of that, and there's every reason to be. But at the end of the day, life goes on. Football is still going to be played. The players that are fit go out there. Mikel Arteta, you better damn well make sure we're able to do stuff, really, because of course I am definitely going to say if we don't win games or we struggle to score, if Saka was there, we might have been able to do something. But end of the day, he's not there. Make it happen, man. Many fans wanted to sit there and tell me, oh, the season before last, we got 80 odd goals. That last year, we got like 90. And I broke it down. I said, I like that. But who is going to get the goal? Saka is the only one in August. You bet your life for the majority of the season is going to do it. Cool. I love the fact that we score set pieces. But open play, there needs to be something. When the set pieces isn't quite happening, which 9 times out of 10 it is. And the general playing there has to be solutions. So for me, mentally, it's not that I'm not upset about Bukayo Saka's injury or what it means, or the better yet, the ramifications of Arsenal in the Premier League. It's to a degree I'm mentally checked out, because how much times you're going to do the same things and expect something different? It's not going to make any sense, really. So all I would say with Saka, again, it's not a silver lining, but this is your first significant injury. Saka's had some good moments in his career, had some bad moments, had to bounce back from the penalty miss, runners up in the Premier League 2 years in a row now, back-to-back Euro finals L's, first significant injury at 23 years of age. And it even sucks a bit more because we all know Saka needs rest, and I do think us fans do a bit too much in that. You look at the best players out there, whether the fixture calendar list, there's too many games and players need rest. There's a wider discussion, but the best players play a lot of games. That being said, Saka has needed to be rested. The man's 23 years of age. He's played 250 odd times for this football club. Captain's ass. I can't give Saka any more plaudits, but this is the first kind of, like in life, you're never just on an upwards trajectory. Life, you're never really down. There's highs and lows. So I won't go as far as to say it's something for Saka to learn from, but it definitely is. Of course, the man's going to be gutted. You can't do your job, which you like doing as a footballer. You can't assist your team until you're back, obviously, in trying to win major honours. But injuries are nothing exclusive to Arsenal. Yes, we've had a lot of injuries, but it is what it is, people. Like, since the season kicked off, we've been dealing with this. So for me, I'm kind of... It's not that I'm, like I said, it's not that I'm over it, but it's like, if we haven't addressed the same talking points we've had year in, year out, and the fallout with that, how much energy can I really give this? I love the football club. We keep going. Like, as I said, there's a million reasons to be negative, and I'm not with being blindly optimistic. There's a million reasons to throw in the towel and woe is me. I'm not on that. I think that's a pussy old thing. At the end of the day, there's 20 odd games or so to play in the Premier League, however many in the cups. Unless the world ends tomorrow, we're gonna have to get on with it, man. It's as simple as that. Now, if we break it down, and we have got a lot to go over, Mikel Arteta said it's not looking good. He's going to be out for many weeks. Some of you would have seen the aftermath of the Crystal Palace game. He was on crutches, and I'm no physio, but once you hear hamstring, especially someone like Saka that's playing week in, week out, once you hear hamstring, it's peak, really and truly. It is. For me, when someone's got a hamstring injury, they're missing, they're out for a month. And Saka, there's some that say he'll be back in March, but it's a huge blow. But it's going to be a big exercise for us to overcome another challenge. It's for you to overcome. It's for you. Well, us in terms of the players, but it's for you. It's you, Mikel Arteta, that's got to do that. Us fans ain't got to do that. Fans, and I said I don't agree with it, but fans can do the woe is me, I told you so. Again, I feel going into the season, a lot of the issues and frustrations that I feel like when we drew against Fulham, when we drew against Everton, other games we haven't taken points. I feel there's plenty of negatives to have in that game and talking points, but I do feel external factors or external points going into that game create a spillover. For me, you can't keep doing the same things and expect different results. The squad is too small. You don't have other players that pull their weight. Saka's not there. Yes, Gabriel Jesus, you lot know I love the fact that he's doing what he's doing, but Saka's the only one that's going to show consistency. So you're going to have to live with that, man. It's long now, like, if I'm honest with you. Saka's out for many weeks, as Mikel Arteta said. We all know he was out on crutches at Selhurst Park. The 23-year-old has 9 goals and 13 assists across 24 games. Now, goals win games. Assists indirectly lead to goals. So that's the ramifications. If you just look at it from a job perspective, you've got somebody that's doing their job. Who is going to do it for them? I hope Gabriel Jesus can show us a bit of form. I hope Raheem Sterling can get an opportunity. I hope Trossard and Martinelli can show something. Ethan, on where he has to get some game time off that right-hand side, and you're praying there's no injuries. Mikel Arteta finds solutions. Now we can look towards January. On the best of days, when everyone's fit, there's a case to make about we need to sign people. We all know January is a difficult time. I don't know who you're going to get. You tried to get Nico Williams. It seems like he wants to stay in Spain. The same with Rafinha. Pedro Neto signed for Chelsea. Jadon Sancho's got over there. Does this add fuel to the fire for Marcus Rashford? Marcus Rashford off that, I don't know. But you're going to have to make something happen, because it's already make or break time where the season's concerned, like, really and truly. And it's been made even worse. It is what it is. You're right about that. He's injured. We cannot change it. We're going to use this time now to help him, which he deserves. Arteta also said he's putting some ideas together with Saka's absence. You should have been doing that in August. You need to know, if Saliba and Gabriel get injured, what's the best partnership at centre half you can put in? If something happens to Benjamin White, who's going there? If anything happens to Declan Rice, what's going on? If anything happens to Raya, what's going on? If anything happens to Thomas Partey, what's going on? I want to pick my words wisely. But Saka's probably been due an injury like this. We've probably been due the prolonged absence of Bukayo Saka, owing to the amount of games the man's played. But we're going to get onto that. We've also lost Martin Odegaard, which was unheard of. So again, whether it's recruitment, being able to cope with injuries, tactical stuff, if we still want to be a team that fights for the league indirectly, where Liverpool are the front runners and gets to trophies and gets to cup competitions in the respectful rounds, we've got enough. But if you want to win stuff, there's certain questions that can't be answered. Now, granted, people could sit here and say, but what if Liverpool's Mo Salah got injured? Of course you'd miss Salah. But bro, you saw what he did yesterday. You can see his statistics. Salah's a Premier League, Liverpool and footballing legend. And I'm not saying that they wouldn't feel that absence. But if Salah's not there, obviously nobody's of Salah's level. But historically, when they were fighting for leagues, if anything happened with Salah, you had Mane over there. And at this moment in time, whether they're as good as as good as Salah, sorry, or not, you've got Cody Gakpo, you've got Darwin Núñez, you've got Jota, Harvey Elliott, and Curtis Jones can play out there. I'm probably missing someone. With us, boy, because even when everybody's fit, you know if Saka and Odegaard are not there or they're not doing the business, we're an issue. So this is nothing new. Arsenal fans have been saying this. Like, for me, I love the club. I want us to fight for stuff, but until there's answers for the questions I have purely under the guise of winning Premier Leagues and champs, to a degree, I'm emotionally checked out, because you knew these are things that are going to happen, especially in this season, especially off the back of last season, where, don't get twisted, historically, Arsenal pick up injuries. Last season, Tomiyasu and Partey were missing. Timber bust his leg on the first day. But generally, and there were 1-2 players missing here and there. But we had a clean run. For me, we should have, and it's easy for me to say yes as a fan, we should have sat there in the summer and said, boy, we got lucky, you know. We know the last few years, Odegaard's given us a clean run. What if he gets injured? Saka, the same logic. Benjamin White's played with injuries. You know, Calafiori picks up knocks. Tomiyasu can't stay fit. Thomas Partey, granted, even in and amongst this injury crisis, Partey's only missed 1 or 2 weeks, but he's had issues. Moreno's had issues. This is what comes with the territory. You know, you look at City. They've missed Rodri. Clearly, anyone is going to miss their key players, but they don't have somebody that's better than Rodri. You know, you've got options, and it's the same parallels could be with Saka. You know, you either get someone that's better than Rodri, which evidently is difficult to find. You get someone that is not quite as good as Rodri, but can do that role, or you find a completely different way of playing. That is what City have failed to do beyond the obvious issues that they have. And you relate that to Arsenal. The drop-off, I feel, on that right-hand side, if Saka isn't there, is a madness. I don't feel anyone's really convincing off that right-hand side if Bukayo Saka's not there. I know after the Crystal Palace game, people would say, you know what, Martinelli, if you can play on the left, you can play on the right. And you could say with Martinelli's general decision-making, being a right foot on the right-hand side, in theory, you probably have less options, so that could help him. Trossard can play over there. Jesus can play over there. The young Ethan, there's minutes there for you, and thank the Lord for you and Lewis Skelly, because it would look a lot more darker. It is what it is. Like I said, my sympathy is to Arsenal fans and Bukayo Saka, and indirectly, the players, obviously, Bukayo Saka's teammates, because you're not in charge of recruitment. The party they do, Mikel Arteta, Stan Kroenke, Josh Kroenke, everyone that has a Scooby-Doo or is involved in the process of recruitment. Boy, I don't want to be that guy, and I'm definitely not being reactive. I definitely don't feel we should have kept him. But Fabio Vieira was playing off the right. Smith Rowe was playing off the left. If you had these guys in the squad, there could be some chopping and changing. My point being, a lot of the same things are required. You can't go into the season trying to compete for 4 trophies with the small squad we've got. So, boy, as I said, you can't stand in the rain and complain you're wet, people. He's torn his hamstring. He said, yes, probably there are ways to prevent the injury. There are a lot of factors. We are looking at everything and what we can do differently. Since his debut in November 2018, Bukayo Saka has played 250 times for Arsenal with 67 goals and 63 assists. Now, I don't know if he would have got to Kevin De Bruyne or Henry levels across assists for the season, but beyond the obvious reasons for Saka, I think a big blow is, I think you could have really got some strong numbers for goals and assists and kept doing what you're doing, but you're going to have to sit down for a minute. And also, you got to remember, from the moment Saka's injury is healed, that doesn't mean you're ready to go again. Like, from him being past medically fit, when is he able to run? How many minutes can he get? Is he fit enough to be on the bench? And also, if you're missing 8 weeks, he's lost a bit of rhythm. So there's also that factor as well. But boy, we're going to have to get on with it. We're going to have to get on with it. It's as simple as that. Oh, man. He said Saka was gutted and emotional after discovering the severity of his injury, people. And then when asked on the congested fixture list, it's probably more the accumulation of matches, as people like Declan Rice and Saka have played over 130 games in 3 seasons, which is true. And again, player welfare, the fixture calendar list, these are things. I think there is a correlation between that and the ACLs. But Mikel Arteta has also had comments where he's saying the best players are playing 70-odd games. The last 2, maybe 3 years, including this. You know these players are going to be involved. You know that there's 2 double whammies with injuries. Obviously, players are going to be missing, but you're then running players into the ground. Declan Rice, Benjamin White. Odegaard was a freak one, but Odegaard, now Bukayo Saka. Gabriel had an injury as well. Like, not all of it is due to overload and things, but injuries happen. It is what it is, man. Like, boy. Again, Raheem Sterling is also sidelined for a few weeks, allegedly due to a knee injury, which again, you need to get yourself fit. In theory, if he is to miss 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, and some go as far as to say 12, obviously he won't be playing against Ipswich, Brentford away, Brighton away, Newcastle United, the North London derby, which, to be fair to you, Spurs obviously will raise their game. But based on what I've seen from Spurs, if you away from what the game is and Saka being a great player, if you can't get something against United and with their current form and Spurs at this moment without Bukayo Saka, there's issues. Newcastle's a nasty fixture, as is Brentford and Brighton away. Ipswich, yes, that is one Arsenal should be winning, but you could argue that's a potential banana skin. And although Liverpool beat them in the early weeks of the season, they made it very difficult for them. They've beaten Spurs, they drew with United, and it's that cliche thing about, every game's a cup final, etc., etc. We have no margin for error. Liverpool look like they're not stopping, and when they keep winning, I do think Liverpool have a blip and drop points like against Fulham. But when you keep winning games and doing what you're doing, you give yourself a certain floor. And Liverpool are not going to win every game from now to the end of the season. But Arsenal need to be able to make sure we're maximizing our points. But it just feels like self-engineered issues. Now, I'm not saying Arsenal wish injury are going to put players out there if they believe they can get injured, but these are questions and talking points that, big up you lot on the platform, we've been here speaking about this. So for me, there's a degree of, it's not that I don't care, but it's like I'm struggling to really go overboard here. It's like, it's not even I told you so. It's, you could see this, like you could see that the sun was shining, but all of a sudden the weather started getting cold. There's little droplets of rain, so I can't be surprised that it's peeing buckets at this moment. Dynamo Zagreb, Wolves away, Girona away, Manchester City at home, Newcastle at home, and Leicester in theory is what he could be missing, people. So it is what it is. Arteta said he's putting ideas together. You better find some ideas. I actually remember you saying Kai Havertz could play off the right last season. I'm not saying, apologies, people, I'm not saying we need to see that, but it is something. Team News and Tix has said, now people are reporting it'll be 8 weeks. I'm told that it's a bare minimum, and likelihood is we won't see him until March. The main thing is Saka comes, regardless of what we're fighting for, the main thing is Saka comes back fit and healthy and, able to continue his life as a footballer. There's no point rushing a man back and things like that. And to a degree with Saka, we're going to have to probably save him from himself, because, again, when people sit here and say footballers don't care, it annoys me. Some of these footballers, Benjamin White, the best example, because, the people that do the former footballers that go on podcasts, they say Ben White's known to hide injuries. If you're Saka and you want to, you're one of the poster boys, you want to win a title, you might in your heart know that I'm probably 98% fit, but you know that there's that added percentage that you're not fully there. You're going to tell the physio you're good. So there's a degree of having to save people from themselves, people. He's torn his hamstring and he's out for at least 8 weeks, man. But yeah, he's likely to be sidelined for several weeks with an injury to his right hamstring. He suffered that against Crystal Palace, and we all know the games he looks to miss. Assuming it's a moderate hamstring injury, the typical recovery time is between 4 and 6 weeks. While Saka has often returned fairly quickly from injuries, the worry is that it is the third hamstring issue he has suffered during this campaign, while he's also had a thigh problem last season. And also, you go back to the last international break, he missed games. Now, someone like Saka is going to have hamstring injuries. I'm pretty sure you was to speak to Saka, to Salah, to Rodri before the injury, all the guys that play week in, week out. That is something. And I'm not, and again, I do think on one hand, people do too much with players need to be rested and all of that. But at the same time, if that is his third hamstring, we all know that's an overload injury. We all know Saka plays a lot of games. So again, we didn't have this conversation this season or last season or even the season before that, where, boy, Saka plays a lot of games. We need people to come in. It is what it is. He missed 2 games for Arsenal in October. He missed the last international break. This season, he started 16 of our 17 league matches and 5 of our 6 in the Champions League. Plus, he did start in September against Bolton. Last season, he missed only 3 league games, so he's quite durable, people. He set a club record of playing in 87 successive top-flight games. So he was due this. It happens. The more you use something, the more things break, no? It is what it is, man. We're going to have to get on with it, man. We're going to have to get on with it. Mikel Arteta said he's worried as well. Is what it is, and it's the first proper, well, he's had a couple of injuries, but I would say this is the first significant kind of injury, and Saka's a durable player, so that's what makes it even more scary. It is what it is, people. But for Saka, all you can do is just focus on your rehab, innit? There's not much you can really do. And for me, beyond the obvious, one thing I'm peed off about is, like, I like watching Saka, obviously, and for me, like, where you look at the Premier League, we'll get onto it, but where you look at the Premier League top goal scorers, bro, there's bare man in double figures. Like, as much as Haaland's in issues, he's still on double figures. Saka's probably our top goal scorer in the Premier League with 5 and 10 assists. So 13 assists, 9 goals in 24 appearances. That's great. I think Saka was going to get some strong numbers, right? We've got an issue around scoring. You know, Saka has been one of our top goal scorers. Prior to the Crystal Palace game, Kai Havertz didn't score until, and I'm not getting at the players, but Kai Havertz didn't score before he scored against Palace. I don't think he scored. The last time he scored was mid-October, right? Gabriel Jesus has been a big part player now. Big up Gabriel Jesus for the form he's shown in the last 2 games, and he's had a great week, right? But what, in the Premier League, he's got 2 goals already now. Like, well, if that. And in all comps, he's probably one of our top goal scorers already. And in the Premier League, he isn't that far removed from what would be our top goal scorer. So it kind of piggybanks in our issues of goal scoring. We all know if Saka doesn't score goals, we're in trouble. And a lot of Saka's goals and assists have been match winners or goals at important moments. So it's more the drop-off. So these lot gonna have to get on with it, man. Again, you look at the top goal scorers. I don't know what is all this. What this ain't this year. It's trying to stitch me up. But yeah, we ain't got no one serious. Like, you look at the double figures, we're not there really. When do you actually see Arsenal on that? In fact, better yet, in the Premier League, who's bagged for us? Kai Havertz, apologies, is our top goal scorer with 6. Kai's got 5. Martinelli hasn't been really scoring goals, got 4. We're going to need Gabriel Magalhaes to chip in a lot more, really and truly. And you know what, Gabriel Jesus is, you know, you found 2 goals and you're already tied with Thomas Partey. Who did Partey score against? He scored against Villa. Did you score against Forest? Who did he bag against? Fair enough, man. But goals win games, and this has been an issue really and truly with us, man. So it is what it is. Mikel Arteta and, you know, Mr. Tim Lewis and the party they do and the Cronkies, these are the things that I get so annoyed. I'm emotionally, I've lost my emotional investment beyond my love for the team. We started the season with one of the Finnish squads. Now, I'm not trying to scapegoat no one. You lot see the date here, right? February the 1st, 2024. Mikel Arteta came out today on the 21st of December and said we got the smallest squad. In February of this year, he said, we have one of the Finnish squads in the league, that's for sure. When you talk about the numbers, especially in certain areas, we are really thin. If I didn't tell you that was said in February or that was said right now, when would you have thought? How much time are you going to do the same things and expect different results? Fair enough, though. And we all know prior to this week, we was up there. Well, we still are up there. We was up there for injuries. Now, obviously, people have played games. There's been injuries and whatnot. But at our point, we had 16 injuries. Our players collectively missed 406 days. It'd be a miracle to see Arsenal win something of significance this season. But for me, I'm only mentioning this because we know this as Arsenal fans and football fans. Injuries are no excuses. Of course, they play a part. Everybody gets injuries. It's probably now 17 with Saka, which ties us with Ipswich and Brighton. It's not really the league table I want to be at, but it could be better. And it could be much worse, man. We'd hope to be lower down the list, but it could be much worse. It is what it is. My point being, everyone gets injuries. And then you look at last season. We didn't learn our lessons, and thank God for our blessings, because we had a clean run with injuries last season. This is an article from May, people. Where would Arsenal be? We had 23 separate injuries, so we're lower the list. If we were really looking at this summer and thinking, how do we get better? Obviously, recruitment across several positions. But the point had to be, even Arteta said in pre-season, we were lucky with Gabriel, Benjamin White and Saliba, who apart from Saliba, who got suspended, we've had injuries. We should have thanked our lucky stars and prevented that, really and truly. Fixed the roof while the sun is shining. Because when it rains, a bit like what you saw in Amarin's press conference for Man United, it gets long. So this is why I love the football club. We'll ride the highs and the lows. But when you lot want me to sit here and say we're going to win this, going to win that, you're too positive, DG, you're too negative, I can only comment what's in front of me. There'll be a day, I believe wholeheartedly, in August, going all the way to May, Arsenal can win the league. But that is when that will be when I have less questions and more answers. Right now, there's questions for the questions, and every week there's another question. It is what it is. Mikel Arteta said we have to be creative. Brother, you have to be creative. We have to look internally at what we have and be creative. Do a very good exercise again. How can we mold the squad? How can we adapt to the circumstances and be different? Is it 3 at the back and 2 up front? I don't know. We cannot pretend to be the same. We're going to have to be different. And also, Saka does a lot of shift that way. And obviously, this is all assuming Gabriel Jesus, Trossard, Martinelli, Young, Ethan, nobody else picks up any injuries. Because again, they're still going to need to be rested and they're going to get fatigued. We're going to have to be cute and clever. It is what it is. But we can't be the same. But you had to have sat there in May and said, I hope these men don't get injuries. But if Saka is missing, I'm doing this. If that happens, I'm doing this. You're the manager. You get paid big bucks. Sort it out. And for the club that are in charge of recruitment, boy, I was very pessimistic in January anyways, but You have to do something in Jan. You can't, and even that, because you can't get no more loans. Forgive me if I'm wrong. You're not going to cancel Sterling's loan. That's one. Neto obviously has to stay. We ain't got another goalie like that. So that's another. Who are you going to buy? And everybody knows how difficult, for a variety of reasons, it is to do business in January anyways. And now everybody knows Saka is out. Being devil's advocate, and these are things way smarter than me, just as an armchair expert. Think about it logically. If you had a decent winger that Arsenal were interested in, and you just found out this news, and Arsenal ring your phone and say, I want to buy him, there Arsenal already start on the back foot. I might ask for, just for example, I might ask for 20 million, but now I've seen this, boy, I need 35. If you don't want to do it, great, we keep our player. If not, boy, hold it. Don't know, man. Really don't know. Don't know what's going on, man. But it is what it is, people, man. I'm putting some ideas together. I haven't got there yet, but I have a few. Then I want to speak with them as well to understand how we are going to generate that and take it in a positive way, because we're going to be different. We went through a period without Martin, and how did that work out? We went through the period with 5-6 defenders missing, which is true. We went through the period with many other players. We will continue to do that, finding ways and taking it with positive energy. There's no positive or negative. This happens in life. Like, just get on with it. Obviously, Arteta is being a bit coy. He's not an idiot. You definitely have to have thought about this long before we've seen it. But to me, as a fan, looking at it on a kind of ignorant thing, this is just positive bullshit, if I'm honest with you. You have to do that anyways. Do your ideas. I don't want to see, you shouldn't be having Christmas dinner. You need to spend the whole of Christmas fixing this. Anyways, people, I make sure that we utilize every player in the best possible potential. Everyone has to feel part of it. You need to rediscover players in different positions, relationships. It's a great one. It's a really good exercise, and the boys are willing to do anything we demand them to do. That's a really good thing as well, is it? Gonna have to be in it. Mikel Arteta spoke ahead of the game against Ipswich. Honestly, he said, when asked on Saka, he said many weeks. I cannot be too specific because I don't know, but it'll be many weeks. Obviously, it's a big blow. He obviously, on Raheem Sterling, said he's going to be out for weeks. He needs some further testing tomorrow to understand the extent of the injury. It's his knee, and we have to wait another 24 hours. But unfortunately, he's going to be out for a while. We've gone over that. On if we'll sign a player, I don't know. My intention right now is within the team right now to get the best out of what we have. What is outside is not in our control, which is true, but come on now, let's not be idiots. Like, whether they do it or not is another thing. But you would imagine those that make the decisions at Arsenal, they had to have sat there and said, boy, do we act in January? In which I would say, boy, couldn't you have just done this in the summer? It's easy for me to say, but my point being, in these 14, 15, 16 games, a lot of the knock-on effects or injuries or issues we have on the field, they've been there. They've been there from last season and the season before. They were there going into the season. So is where it is, man. Find solutions, man. On Gabriel Jesus, well, he's certainly done that in the last 2 games. He's not going to just be in isolation a player. He's not just going to be in isolation a player. The way we've done it, it has been collectively, and we've been very strong the last few years at scoring a lot of goals from various players and sharing the responsibility across the team. On whether Rice is a 6 or an 8, with the squad we have, he needs to be versatile. With the qualities that he has, he needs to be versatile. With the brain he has, he has to be versatile. With the age that he has versatile, because he can offer so much to the opposition, to the opponent, in relation to the needs in the squad. Putting Declan just in a box, in my opinion, doesn't work. So he's a jack of all trades for you people. On if he's better in one position than the other, clearly he's better as a 6, but no, because it depends. So he's going to play as a 6 against a low block in relation to what the 9 does. If they stay with him or go with the centre-back, he's going to have one role. But against a team that presses high and the 10 is man marking him, he's going to have another role. So it depends a lot as well on the behaviour of the opponent, which is true, people. Big up Ipswich and Kieran McKenna. Obviously, we'd love to see Saka back before the end of the season. He said, in football with injuries, I wouldn't want to put my 10 fingers there, but I would be very optimistic that he's going to be back well before the end of the season. Hopefully, we still got things to play for from a trophy point of view, people. It is part of the development and whatnot. On our ability to score more goals lately, nobody is right on whether we need to buy a striker or not. If you're saying that, you might be right, because someone comes in and scores 40 goals. But what we have is what we have, and we're really happy with the players that we have. We are definitely trying to do everything that we are demanding for and have enough quality in the squad for sure. How we use it, that's something else. Then the players, the squad, the team, they have moments. When we have those moments, make sure we continue. When we haven't got them, try to improve and understand what we can do better. Listen, the pressure's going to be, I'm not even going to read that. There's going to be pressure from now to the end of the season with what Liverpool do and Chelsea now and City and what we do and all of that kind of crap. We know Saka's absence is a big one. Arteta, of course, needs to find solutions between defensive solidity and a flow in attack. So we don't really need to waste time with that. On if we still have the ability to do something in the January window, if we need to, yes, the preparation is done. We are ready. If something happens, obviously we didn't predict the situation with Bukayo. Well, you had to predict it. Maybe not specifically against Crystal Palace in December. He's going to get a hamstring injury. But come on now. That's foolishness anyways. But and Raheem at the same time. We predicted more if something has happened, for example, in the defensive line, but the job is done. Then, okay, if something has to happen, we'll be open. But the main focus is now how we should strive to distill the potential that is still there in this squad. There's hella fixtures and players are injured. And to be fair with you, Mikel Arteta, I don't really want to hear what anyone's got to say in the press conference. So let's start closing tabs because I know the tab police are onto me, people. We're going to get into everything else in just a moment. But yeah, we got that done. What are you lot saying? This is why we signed Raheem Sterling, but naturally he's out too. Shout out Rob and Inner Circle, you always hear. Summer window gets worse and worse. What happens if Odegaard or Saka gets injured? We said, but the club GAF, Saka likely going to nurse that hamstring forever. Ginger Bearded one, appreciate you. As he said, hit the like button. D'Angelo said the same thing. Surely we go in Jan and grab something, but no in Arsenal, will we? Me, I think we needed to sign someone anyways, but now you kind of have to. I can't see, obviously, there will be times we lose games and drop points, and you can sit there and say, "Raw, there's no Bukayo Saka." Or we talk about the form. Equally, there's going to be games where we're a bit pessimistic going into it, and we're playing a makeshift side, and we go and do it. My whole thing is, I want to see Saka back in March or April, whenever he's back, but the season could be won or lost then. Really. So I think you need to dip into the market. I think you needed to dip into it anyways. Who you get, I don't know. I don't know who's available in terms of maybe a club wants to sell someone. Contracts are running out. You could also say, despite the fact January is difficult to do business, we didn't get these following players, but you did try to put big money down on Mudryk. You did try to put big money down on Caicedo. You did try to put big money down on Vlahovic. So when there's a player that convinces, if there is a player that convinces, the club have tried. And you could also say whether they're available or whatever, you can make players available. Obviously, that has ramifications of what you want to do in the summer. But if you truly believe in a player and they're not available, make offers that they can't refuse. West Ham are not stupid. They knew Declan Rice would leave one day. But would you say Declan Rice was necessarily available? And this is why I've always said I have an issue with some Arsenal fans who sit there and go, "Oh, what player are we going to get? There's no players on the market." I hear all of that. Neither can I sit here and give you a million players. But are we a prime Real Madrid? Are we a prime Arsenal Invincibles? Are we City in their prime? Are we Liverpool in their prime when they had Mane and Salah on either side? If we had things of that ilk, then I could sit there and say, "Oh, maybe there isn't a player that improves." Because prior to Saka's injury, I was screaming, I would like a player better than Saka if you could find that. Who wouldn't want, Liverpool? I'm sure if there was a player better than Salah, they'd want it. But I wanted someone that could fill in for Saka. And I also said, you know what? Even if you could get a player that is, whoever that is, 50% of Bukayo Saka on that left-hand side. But hey, you know what? Just activate Mohamed Kudus's release clause, but dream chasing, man. Which winger can we sign? Apropos Semenyo and Ryan Cherky. Would love Ryan Cherky. Semenyo, obviously, you make Bournemouth an offer you can't refuse. I'm sure he'd want to sign for Arsenal, but Bournemouth are doing very well. I'm not sure on his contract situation, but if he's got significant years on his contract, then things it makes it a lot more difficult. I'm not down or pessimistic. I called all this and said my expectations are very low. Not sad, not surprised, and never had any hope. Hate what we are as a club. DG, do you think in January we sign an experienced winger for a short-term contract as a Saka replacement, whether it's a young hot shot that can develop and emerge and be a long-term part of our football club, whether it is a quote-unquote experienced winger, whoever that is, wherever it is, I don't know. What I would say, the one people that are going to be laughing are the journalists. Easily could link us with a move, whether it happens or not, for Nico Williams, for Mohamed Kudus. Leroy Sané's contract's running out, so we all know we're going to see rumours with that. Probably the first couple of weeks from now till mid-January, Rashford is going to get linked with us. You'd have to buy Rashford. You couldn't get him on loan because we've already got some in it. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Arteta has to keep it simple and not rejig the whole team because of one injury, despite how important he is. Curious, but what if we play Martinelli on the right, Jesus on the left, and Kai Havertz up front? That's probably my first port of call, if I'm honest with you. I do want to see Ethan off that right because I've been calling for it anyways, and I think that's a cheeky little way to get him game time. Arteta made his bed and has to lay in it. Lack of investment in attack led to this point, and now he has to sort it out himself. No sympathy. Saka is out till April. Boy, prepare for Kolo Mane. Oh, Lord. Dewberry got loaned out by Brighton. He ain't that guy. To be fair, it's game time. Brighton got some big dogs ahead of him, really and truly, and he's doing all right at Blackburn. But yeah, it is what it is. I did think, if we had Amari Hutchinson or Koji Dewberry, maybe this could have been their chance to shine. Feels like our tactics are way too reliant on 3-4 players. Naturally, I think every team is going to have that, to be fair. Rashford is local. Yeah, but then you're signing Rashford where I'm not trying to have a cop-out because, yes, this is the last time I'm going to speak on Rashford because I feel like I'm saying the same things, right? But the plus points to Rashford, you could argue a new environment. You could argue Mikel Arteta could get a trick out of him. You could argue experienced England international Premier League player can do something, fire in his belly, the same things they said about Raheem Sterling. You could say that. But you have to buy him. Forgive me if I'm wrong and we turn around and cancel either Neto or Sterling's contract. You're going to have to get rid of him. He's in bad form anyways. The way Ten Hag and Arteta play, there's probably intangibles, but they're very different. And even the way in training, if he goes training, when he goes training under Amrin, so he's going to have to adapt to the new tactics. You're not playing. You're not in the match day squads, and this is assuming in this hypothetical, we sign Rashford on the 1st of January. You're not playing. Rashford's done the talking thing in the interview. Amrin said, forget all of that. So my point of saying that is fitness-wise, you're not going to be there. So you're going to have a Gabriel Jesus who, I think it's too far to say he's turned the corner, but we like what he's done in these 2 games. You've got Trossard, who isn't quite the Trossard he's been. Martinelli, it was nice to see you score and all of those things, but we know about the struggles. Sterling, we know about the struggles. You're going to add Rashford into that. It's better than nothing, but oof. And you're going to have to buy him permanently, where that's before you talk about a transfer fee and wages and if they're worth it. And I refuse to believe, man. They can't just, Ademola Lookman, Kudus, Nico Williams, all these guys that are Rafino, all these guys that are linked with us. They're like top of the top. They're established names. I refuse to believe there isn't other established names that you lot have looked at to the same stature of these players or young emerging talents. We really can't find someone that can deputize for Saka or owing to the struggles on the left, someone that can't bring nothing. Fair enough, man. And this is why, you lot that do, some fans that do the over positive thing to the point where it's negative and you act like everything is great. You always show your ass, pause when things happen. You can't replace elite players. End of story. No point complaining. Just find a solution and move on. Last sentence there, and I'm with you. Find a solution. Welcome, Marcus Rashford. The last need to do is rush Saka back. Don't need a Reece James situation. Injuries happen, but there are some players you can't replace. Saka, Salah, Van Dijk, Rodri, etc. It's true. But like in Social Drain said, there has to be a solution. Cool. You can't get someone better than Saka. Get someone who's never going to be Saka, but they're still good. You look at half the teams, you look at 2 men in our squad already through different reasons, Zinchenko and Jesus. Whenever City won the league, they weren't really about. But every time there was injuries or they needed people to step up, they were there. Football's a squad game. Football's probably never been more of a squad game than it is at this moment in time. The top players, going back to what someone said about Rodri, Salah, Van Dijk, all of these guys, not only are these teams typically competing in about 4 trophies and there's a lot of games, you're playing for your countries as well. And you look at the last couple of years, especially with the C word that created lockdown, we've had back-to-back tournaments. So it is what it is. DG, honestly, do you think we're going to get a backup winger in January transfer market? Because I don't think we'll get anyone. At this point, my brother, seeing's believing, my guy. Like, seeing is believing. Like, I think there's reasons, and I think there was reasons before, but I think our club probably would have said, whatever. I do think Saka's one injury, unfortunately, is going to force their hand. Who that player is, if we get that player, I don't know. But I think there's more of a willingness. But whether we sign someone, I don't know, man. Havertz has played right wing for us before in 2 games, I think. Evening DG, I'm actually glad Saka is going to sit out because he is the one that would play injured. Saka wants to play as many games as possible. Manager's job is to properly evaluate fitness. Boy, it is what it is. We could get Giovanni Reina from Dortmund if we're desperate for a left-footed winger. Even that, we're linked with that you at Dortmund as well. Gittins, are you going to leave mid-season? How much are you going to have to pay? Are Arsenal prepared to potentially overpay mid-season? Because a lot of people will sit here and say, well, if you buy someone in January, in the summer, that is going to have, ramifications on the budget and things like that. It is what it is. Arteta's default is to go defensive. This will not be pretty, lads. Get ready for her round football. Damn. I don't believe our intent with play is going to stop. We can still attack, especially if Ethan finds minutes. But then even that, like Ethan, some fans, as you know, have been on his back. And I want Ethan to get minutes, but he's 17, 18. I can't expect you to show anything near the consistency levels of Saka. So what if he, God forbid, he picks up an injury? His form is a bit mad. There's been times Saka's been on the pitch and we still ain't been able to really get a win. So where's the other options? It is what it is, man. Big up you lot, though, man. Don't know if it will play out this way, but silver lining could be we play more on both sides than being one-dimensional. I guess true. And also with that, like you lose the Odegaard Saka relationship. And, you know, again, even where there's plenty of question marks for a variety of reasons about the left-hand side, we've been talking about Arsenal fans. But, you know, you've lost Benjamin White, you've lost Odegaard, you lost Saka at different periods. The right-hand side, there was a bit of a stable there. Shout out to Timber, but you've lost that relationship. So you've got an underperforming left. The right-hand side, we don't know what's going on now. I think we're still good defensively, but we've fallen off a cliff by our own previous standards. We've shown on a couple of occasions we can score 3-5 goals, but generally, if we're not, this is a safe space for us Arsenal fans to speak. Let's not lie and act like we're playing great in terms of open play on a consistent basis. These are some of the questions that you don't necessarily need to ask if you just want to challenge for things. But where you want to win a Premier League title, a Champions League title, you know, FA Cup, even confirm, well, to even the prospect of not having Saka at Wembley if you get there in the final. These are the questions that need answers. And we're going to learn this lesson as a football club, season in, season out, until simply put something else is changed, something changes. I won't even lie, man. I just had a mad thought, and I know it's not logical, people. But it made me think, Pepe, what are you doing over it? Like, where are you? Are you free agent? But yeah, man, it is what it is. It is what it is, man. I hope we can possibly make a move for Dani Olmo. He's so brilliant. I hear that. I love Olmo, but I hear the logic because it seems like he can't be registered at Barcelona, but I can't see it. To have a player like Saka, who is one of our most durable and consistent players in the world, out for 8 weeks, Teta should be sacked for that alone. Mismanagement of the highest order. 15k minutes before 24, you know, boy. We're always fighting for top 4, even in the injury table. Sell Saka, get in the funds and get Verts. I don't know about that, and that's a crazy name, man. That's crazy. But yeah, shout out my guy Riley. It's not like we're going to sign Kudus, and Dortmund are always willing to sell, so Reina is the logical outcome. There is a player that I like. I would love Ryan Cherky from Lyon, 1,000,000%. But there's a player at Dortmund that I love. But between him, Martinelli, even if you sign Rashford, I'd lose my hair, my fine hair. Gally shout me. Kareem Adeyemi, man. Martinelli, Trossard, Ethan, rotation, setting in left wing and right wing. Feel Ethan left wing and Martinelli right wing might actually work. Saka is overrated, man. He can be overrated, but he's just a quality player for us, and they don't lie, man. Sterling, aka Rasta, man, came for the vibes. Bob Marley settings hasn't played 90 minutes of football, out with a knee injury. To be fair, that's not fair on Sterling, though, because he's not being picked. And also, if a man's injured, that man's injured. Duranville's just signed for them. Williams has a decent left foot. It's not his strong foot. Kubo is left-footed. Maybe we sign Kubo. We're going to get linked with half of these guys. This season has been shambolic, GG. We had a good run. And I've said, I'm not trying to be negative, but I'm as positive or as negative as what we can see. A lot of these things, you lot said it, and the only times I've been truly happy with when I've watched Arsenal, beyond the obvious, you know, I think defensively we could have done several things better against Crystal Palace, but we scored a lot of goals. Same against West Ham, same against Sporting. Monaco, cool. PSG, calm. There's therefore one of them games, Forest, if I haven't said that, cool. Villa, for the result, but we weren't good across the 90 minutes. Ironically, the draw against City, yeah, you could say we could have started the game better. We can see the late goal, but based on the circumstances in that game, I said, I can't ask any more of the players. The problem is, though, that's a couple of games, and I know you can't be amazing in every game. Sometimes you have to get through it. Even when we've won, we've said these things. I don't like. This is the third year of fighting for a title. I said it in August, and it's not that I'm a know-it-all. That's just genuinely what I felt, and I hope I'm wrong. But it's either you go up several levels or there's a bit of stagnation. Arteta's not always quickly found solutions. I do think he's evolved the squad on one hand, or the tactics, but on the other, we've stagnated. You know, the left-hand side, still talking points. The midfield, still talking points. The right-hand side, if players are missing, let alone when they're there and the opposition team is locking that down, there's issues. The overall squad depth, there is issues. Are people not bored at this point? Yeah, I'm going to get sideburns before we stop talking about these things. We must fully channel the Arsenal now. Whatever move we make by I'd be disappointing. I will not. I'm not sure what you're saying here, but I'm not sure what you said there, my guy. Saka can single-handedly turn draws into wins. Martinelli and Havertz have got to be consistent now. It's true, man. And yeah, it is a Mighty Ducks thing. Just let Rice play as a 6. He can drive with the ball. I think Teta is protecting the club. DG, you know, he definitely wanted an attacker, but Edu and the rest clearly not going in for one. They're all in it together, man. They're all in it. I do think he's been shagged, but then you could argue, you know, it's not like we knew last season we needed someone for Saka. Have you spent the budget in the best possible way? I'm being purely devil's advocate, but did you need to spend 30 million on Moreno, which I think he's good for the squad? That's my personal opinion. But being devil's advocate, we've already got a number of 6s. I'm happy with Calafiori, and people need to remember we was actually quite confident about our defensive depth, but the bodies have been dropping like flies. Did you have to spend that? Maybe the club suggested targets that maybe Mikel Arteta doesn't necessarily work, but they were feasible deals and they turned them down. My point being, I hear that. I think that is the case, but I don't think when things, I'm not saying you're saying this, but we can't always absolve Mikel Arteta of everything when things look shaky and praise him when things going well. And also, not that I'm defending Eddie, bro. We don't know. We can criticize Mikel Arteta. The one thing is we might not see what you're doing in training, but whether you win or lose a game, there's question marks. We don't know what Edu's tried to do or not to do. Because again, I very much doubt the club unanimously agreed to go for Raya at the time because Ramsdale was there. I'm not saying it's the wrong decision to sign another left back in Calafiori, to go for Moreno, you know, either way, like if we get into a situation we're running around on deadline day and getting Raheem Sterling and the club is saying, Edu is saying, when we've never heard him say that before, we didn't plan to do that, it's failure for everybody. As I said, you break something at grandma's house, every one of your cousins, including yourself, you're getting beats. What Arteta has to do is, I can't cry about the summer. I can be hopeful, but I can't put too much stock in January. You need to work with what you've got. You need to make it happen. You need to make it happen. In the best case scenario, we win our games. We're still in with a faint hope of winning the Premier League by the time Saka comes back. Boy, I don't know, man. It's annoying, man. Bring up yourself, Fargo. Smash the likes, as the man said. Geez, you're close to 64k subscribers. Come on, people, like if you haven't. It'd be nice, man. It would have been nice to get 70 this year, but we go again. Frustrating is that this was the result of subpar transfer planning going seasons back. Again, it's not new. This is nothing new, bro. I mean, the only silver lining, if anything, is word to Arsene Wenger. Whether, you know, I don't know what a week's a long time in football. So when we're talking March or April, it's a madness and there's bare games. Word to Arsene Wenger, it will be like a new signing. I'm trying to make you laugh, people. We don't laugh, we might cry, man. Now, we all know this is probably BS, but allegedly PSG have reportedly triggered the 58 million euros release clause in Nico Williams' contract at Athletic Club. The Spain international was expected to leave during the summer transfer window following the Euros. He opted to stay. Arsenal, Barcelona, Chelsea, United apparently remain determined to land the 22-year-old next summer. He's been tipped to finally depart and join one of Europe's biggest clubs. Real Madrid have been thrown into it apparently as well. Apparently Williams wants to join Barcelona, although Hansi Flick has vetoed the signing. And there has also been some reports over the last few days that said he's open to move into the Premier League. But even him, obviously you could sell him a project. He's got a release clause, but does he want to leave Bilbao mid-season where it seems like he's got that attachment to them and made a big song and dance in the summer about wanting to play in Europe with them? I don't know, people. I really don't. And the same could be extended to Lookman. The same could be extended to half the names, people. So we have a goal for a young emerging talent. We have a goal for, not to diss Trossard or Jorginho, but when we signed them, they had one foot out the door between Brighton and Chelsea, or in an imaginary world, regardless of the reasons to be pessimistic around the Lookmans, the Kuduses, the Nico Williams, yada, yada, yada. You make offers to them, and excluding his release clause, for the offers for the players to buy them, that the clubs can't refuse. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Nico Williams said, I'm not thinking about my future. Obviously, man are going to say that. PSG have apparently joined the race to sign Alexander Isak, people. Koulibaly is expected to depart. He's another one, allegedly, that's been linked with us as well, people. I would love us to sign Isak. It's not going to happen, though, is it? Arsenal are monitoring his progress have been monitoring his progress at Newcastle for several months amid their pursuit of a replacement. And he got a hat-trick, or was it 4 goals? I don't know, but he definitely had a great weekend, man. Apparently, Mikel Arteta's side failed to reach an agreement with Newcastle this summer, and PSG are looking to pounce on the Gunners' mistake in 2025. He got his first ever hat-trick for against Ipswich for Newcastle at the weekend. There's no part of me or anyone at Newcastle that wants to let Alex go. He's very much part of our long-term plans. He is class. He's first class, better yet. He's motivated and wants to do well. He has big aspirations with his career, but he's still relatively young. Come join us, man. London, bro. His desire to score goals is second to none. But yeah, I would love our manager to speak about the existing striking options like this, you know. And regarding his future, everything has been positive. I would love for him to contribute to us winning the trophy. I don't think contract talks have started, but he has a long contract. And when the time comes, that will be discussed with Alex's reps and the football club. He's very popular in the dressing room, and that's not always the case with an out-and-out goal scorer. He plays for the team, not just for himself, and he's always willing to learn. I can't speak highly enough of him. He's a world-class talent. The way he took his goals, he has that coolness and composure very few have. When you add that into the mix, his technical skills, I think he's got it all, bro. The only thing you can say about Isaac is the injuries, but and Arsenal tax, especially now. But yeah, it is what it is where that's concerned. And I mean, we've seen this before, but where you look at the amount spent on forwards in bracket strikers and wingers by the Premier League's big six in 5 years since Arteta's appointment. Now, I'm not slating Arteta or the club for this because there were different priorities across different periods. 5 years is a long time. Obviously, we've done better than some. You know, Chelsea have got a lot of players, and you know the ones that are banging for them, the Cole Palmers. You know, Neto's doing all right. Sancho's found his feet. There's many that's gone wrong, and Konku seems like his days are numbered. Man United, it's been meaty for them. Diallo's great, but the vast majority, 100 odd million on Anthony, I ain't been doing nothing. Spurs, you know, Kula's been good. Half of their players ain't really done it. City, of recent, their players haven't really done it across the 5 year period. Of course, Liverpool, I think of the 6 clubs or 5 clubs there, I'm even like I can't count 6 clubs. Liverpool probably got the best money to success ratio. I know Cody Gakpo, Darwin Núñez, Jota, they haven't all quite hit the heights of a Mane or a Salah, but you know the only thing you can say with Jota is injuries. He still scores important goals. Darwin Núñez is probably the biggest frustration over them attacking players because you don't know what you're going to get with him, but he's found his feet. Diaz, saw what he did yesterday. So, but hey, Arsenal, we need to get better at that. We spent 134 million, and where you look at our attackers that we spent or that Arteta is saying, you haven't really got too much bang for the buck. So we're going to have to see, man, but it is what it is, man. I mean, this was prior to the Saka stuff, but Arteta did say in the build-up to the Palace game, I never expect January to be super busy, but we have to wait and see where we are. Some surprises can come. We are prepared for that. Some opportunities as well, and we'll have to see. Hopefully, the squad availability is going to be better in a few weeks, so we'll have to wait and see. Boy, God, the football god said, yeah, okay. Arsenal are interested in signing Marcus Rashford, but only for the right price. They have already made it clear they're not willing to match his Man United wages. And I wonder, unless you go to a PSG and that, whether it's feasible, where are you getting them P's? I mean, I don't believe it, but I'd definitely love us to sign Dani Olmo. Arsenal and City have both offered contracts to Dani Olmo, who could potentially leave Barcelona for free in January if they fail to register him for the second half of the season. Now, considering you just bought him in the summer, they're going to do everything to make sure they can register him. But yeah, if you believe that. Arsenal apparently are leading the race to sign Lucien Agormi, who plays for Sevilla, centre midfielder, who was once labelled the next Paul Pogba. You can actually see a video on my YouTube channel from years ago with him, people. Leroy Sané said, I want to stay at Bayern, yes. Max L said a lot about that, and I also gave my opinion. Things are going well, and we'll see. Listen, we're going to get linked with Sané. We're going to get linked with Gnabry. Every now and again, we're linked with Kingsley Coleman. We're definitely going to get linked with Ademola Lookman, Nico Williams, Mohamed Kudus, and all of those names that entice and arouse the ambition and excitement of Arsenal fans, people. We always get linked with Conde. I know Arsenal like defenders, but for what it's worth, apparently Arsenal are preparing a 40 million euros bid to sign Conde from Barcelona. The French defender would consider moving to the Premier League. Whether you believe that or not is down to you. David Ornstein on Colomani said, in the case of Arsenal, they have considered him among their long list in the past. I don't know of any pursuit on this occasion, but you never know. January is largely a reactive market, and if a low-cost loan for 6 months arises, and a club such as Arsenal, not sure on the rest, but you get the point. But maybe we can make more loans, but a lot of you keep saying to me, we've already got 2 loans. Can you get more? Or is it you can't have 2? You can't have more than 2 from a Premier League club? I don't know, people, but with what we've got with Neto and obviously Sterling, unless there's a rip-up of the contracts, how far does a Colo, if you can only have 2, if we've reached our limit, you can't get Rashford on loan. You can't get Colomani on loan. You're going to have to spend the P's on someone. Allegedly, Arsenal have made an agreement in principle to sign Las Palmas star Alberto Moleiro. We've been linked with him before, people. Again, we need new additions. I don't know if it's going to happen. Mikel Arteta is going to have to do something. Romano said Arsenal will be attentive on the market in January, but I can guarantee that as of today, there are no concrete targets already decided or talks ongoing. I slightly disagree with that. Manchester United and Arsenal apparently still monitoring Benjamin Sesko, another one that's going to get linked with us. Allegedly, we sent scouts to watch him in action against Bayern Munich on Friday, and Arsenal scouts were joined by City and United as well, for what it's worth. And then we all know about, at some point, 7th of January, you've got Newcastle in the Cup, Man United on the 12th, on the 15th, you've got Spurs, on the 18th, you've got Villa, and then you've got Zagreb, where we're all playing at home. We've got it all to do. The games are coming thick and fast. Everyone in the squad's going to have to stand up to be counted, but boy, have we got enough bodies? PSG apparently are leading the race to sign Nico Williams. Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs, Barca had all taken steps to secure his signature. Allegedly, people, what's this? Sesko's exit is deemed a possibility next summer, and Arsenal are monitoring the situation as they look to bring a new centre forward to the club. Arsenal remain in contact with Sporting star Gyökeres, with the Sweden international looking to secure a transfer during the 2025 summer window. Sporting are expected to sell the 26-year-old for a fee of 65 million euros, and Newcastle are set to rival Arsenal in the race to sign him. We've been told that playing time assurances will be crucial for the Sweden forward, although he's determined to join a club who can offer Champions League football, which could prove a major hurdle for Eddie's side. Sesko remains Arsenal's priority centre-forward target, but we've been informed that Arsenal will shift their focus entirely to Gyökeres if there's another setback in their pursuit of the RB Leipzig ace. So we're just going around the circles with half the people. And to be fair, who cares about the summer when Saka's injured and we need to do something in January? Apparently, Barcelona have lost faith in Frankie de Jong. I know some of you want him at Arsenal. Highly rated teenager defender Aiden Heaven will be out of contract at Arsenal next summer. Manchester City want to sign him. He's also linked with Newcastle and Dortmund as well, people. The sporting director Alabi of Sociedad has said Zubimendi has a release clause, yes, but it's always the player to decide, and he's been showing how committed he is to our project. So far, we've seen how he has behaved. I don't predict any scares in January for Zubimendi to leave. You would have seen him speaking about how the Liverpool bid came by surprise during the summer for him. So yeah, our young Highlanders drawing interest. I mean, if I was Aiden Heaven, I'd leave. I don't know about going City. I don't necessarily know about going Newcastle, but you look at Arsenal. Lewis, he can play centre mid, centre half, and left back. I think his future's in defence. But Lewis Skelly's come out, and it shows that there is a pathway. But you, on paper, Lewis Skelly's ahead of you at left back. Kivio's probably ahead of you. Tierney for a year, at the very least, is ahead of you. Calafiori's there. Tomiyasu's there. Timber's there. Centre half, you're not getting game time. You've been on the bench, you're not playing. Fair enough. If I'm him, don't sign a new contract. Go somewhere to a club where there's less resources, where you're more likely to play. Go and try and get 50, 100 career appearances. Because again, I would love to see him come through. But also from a club's point of view, I would want them to tell him every lie under the sun. Not necessarily a lie, but yeah, you're going to play. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. Once you sign that contract, if you play, great. If not, so go do your thing, man. But anyways, Liverpool approach for João Pedro is likely to wait until the summer. A move will be difficult in January. I only mentioned that because he was another one linked with us, people. Arsenal called the agent of international midfielder Gabriel Carvalho amid interest from Saudi clubs to inform them that they are willing to match the Saudis' offer of 22 million euros with a 20% sell-on clause offer. He can move to Arsenal once he turns 18 this summer. So I'm sure you're talented. Doesn't really matter if you can't move to join us in January. Club, press ahead if you want him, but it's not really helping no one. Then United have joined Arsenal and Chelsea in the race, but then we also heard, have they really joined? Because we heard that all of these clubs are trying to sign him last season. Fixture details have been confirmed for our upcoming semi-final clashes against Newcastle. The first leg is on the 7th of January, which is a Tuesday at 8 p.m. The second leg will be 8 p.m. the 5th of February. Does that mean both games will be on Sky Sports? Surely that means the City game is going to be moved then, because ain't the City game around that time? I could be wrong. Martinelli, obviously, I wasn't planned, but he's obviously spoken about scoring against Palace, and he spoke on Ian Wright as well. Big him up for that one. I was reading this myself, people, about Gabriel Jesus, and I'm not going to read it all to you, but you can see it highlighted because I was just reading this myself. By that time in the academy was very good for me, and when I was 17, I got to the first team and started playing on the left wing. They put me there and it was good for me. I've never been a number 9. I was used to being more free, but as soon as I went to the national team and played 9, things went well for me. I got confidence and played there. You can see today I can play in 2 or 3 different positions because of those days. We're going to need you there, people. And that was a follow-up where at the time when I was 16, I wasn't a number 9. I played as a second striker. I'd go on the left or on the right or run with the striker, not a normal 10 either. So that's all. Gabriel Jesus never been an out forward, but hopefully the form can continue, man. And that's that, man, essentially. But yeah, let's get back into what you guys are saying. Please make sure you're smashing the like button. How we not got 100 likes? You like acting. I think Saka being out is obviously long, but it will definitely make Teta a better coach. And now players are forced to step up. I'm interested to see how it goes. I think we all are. I think the Alberto Moleiro links are untrue because the Mail and the Sun lie, so I wouldn't believe it. Me, I'm more than happy. The Villa fan, big up yourself. I'm more than happy to, speak about signings and whatnot, but 98%, kind of piggybacking off what you're saying, 98% is BS, man. We can't afford Morgan Rogers from you lot, though, boy. We'd love him. We'd love him. Bailey is available to... No. I love Leon Bailey, but forget it, man. You and Sterling will make elite TikToks and whatnot, but dead. Ryan Cherky and Arteta won't work. Arteta's too pragmatic and he doesn't like Mavericks. Look at Smith Rowe, for example. We did play Smith Rowe, and boy, Arteta, you might have to change up the pattern when if life presents you with unexpected circumstances, you might have to do things you don't want to do, man. DG, if you are Arteta, which youth player would you play in the Saka role? Ethan. I don't think there's no one else. There's no one else. Ethan settings immediately. Like Ethan. So listen, Arteta, if you think Ethan can be a 9, great. We all know 10 and 8. He looks at home. Ethan can do something there. Ethan, Sterling, Trossard, Martinelli. It's gonna have to happen. No to Rashford. I swear, Arsenal fans don't learn. Does Nico Williams make us better for next season? I think he does. If I'm honest, we've got stronger players. Nico Williams, we've been chasing for 3 years. He'd rather be called racist names. Oh wow. Chill. I really believe Cuba would add something to this team. Is what it is, man. No point worrying about Ethan if MLS is... I don't worry about Ethan. For me, I want Ethan to play. Age becomes irrelevant, whether you're as young as Lewis Skelly and Ethan or you're as old as Jorginho. However you've got here, you're part of the squad. We can talk about the summer or whatever. Some factors are out of your control. Some are down to you being a good player and the manager. You're here. Utilize them. For me, I always say with Ethan, of course, positive praise, criticism where due. He's a young player. He's trying to install consistency. And again, I'm not saying anyone here, but I think we all saw Arsenal fans on social media making mad noise. Ethan needs to play. Ethan put him in there instead of Odegaard. The minute he's not looking at it against Everton, he's getting heat. The minute he didn't really look at it against Crystal Palace, he's getting heat. My point being, he's a young player. You do not know what you're going to get from 10 games of Ethan. And that's nothing to draw out, Ethan. You're learning how to be that. You ain't got 50 or 100 appearances. So for me, Ethan, just go out there, obviously play well, praise and criticism, as I said, but go and learn your trade. Now, nothing to do with Ethan. If I take off my youth cap and I'm just looking at winning the Premier League or whatever, it's not that Ethan ain't got the ability. But again, it's unanswered questions. I don't know if he can. I know Saka defo can score goals and assists because he's been around. This is now where we're getting to it. So it is what it is. It's like even Lewis Skelly. This is why you're getting starts. You're showing consistency. You did well showed your age against Liverpool at the Emirates, but you did well. You did well trying to fight Haaland at the Etihad. You've taken your last 3 starts very well. And again, Crystal Palace is scary. He's done his thing, but you still don't know what you're getting. Every game builds up that ultimate trust. So it is what it is. I don't worry about them. I definitely don't worry about Ethan or Lewis Skelly. Like at the end of the day, with them, not to criticize their more experienced players, but God forbid, if Lewis Skelly plays against Mo Salah tomorrow and he does great, it shows you that you can be confident, that you can do stuff, but it probably pushes you to want to be better and do that on a regular basis. If Salah tears him a new one, and rips him and destroys him, at least he will sit there after the game as a young player and go, boy, I need to step up. This is what the Premier League's about. You're playing players like this week in, week out. I can't necessarily say that would be the case of some more experienced teammates, man. DG, big up yourself. Right back at you, man. Great content as always. Saka. Salah had the same exact injury at the African Nations comp in early Jan 2023 and was back mid-Feb. Maybe an internal solution will need to be found. Bro, whether it's internal, whether it's external, because don't get twisted. We need to sign a winger anyways. Now, prior to the Saka injury, I'm sure everybody used to say, ideally, you want someone that can play off the left, play off the right. compete with Saka, more deputized to avoid scenarios like this, probably more likely to start off the left. So if you can find me someone that can do that, great. Can't lie, man. Cronky, I can't imagine you're watching my live streams, and I know it's difficult, and I'm gonna sound like a hypocrite, but if I completely disregard all the factors that go into a January market, bring me Kudus, man. But that's more a dream than anything. Saka was subbed off at the 23rd minute. Did we play defensively after that? That comment makes no sense. We were defensive during Odegaard's absence because of the lack of creativity. No, Pepe is trenches talk. It is trenches, but you can't blame me, man. When you're hungry, everything looks like food. Yeah, Adeyemi is left-footed. Embuemo would be cold. But does Embuemo, obviously, Arsenal come for you, Embuemo. You're going to have a decision to make. Being French, looking at what we've been doing, I'm sure he'd be on it. But does he want to snake Brentford now? Does he want to leave like that? I don't know. What is Brentford's negotiation stance as well mid-January? Because I don't know. Maybe there's more of a willingness to sell than not. If you have release clauses, which I'm not informed Embuemo does, then it helps you out a bit. And you're just relying, like we saw with Nico Williams, like we saw with Sesko, you're relying on the player actually wanting to join you. I'd love Embuemo. Definitely now. We would have loved him on the best of days, but would love him now with the Saka stuff. But seeing is believing, man. And Burmo is great, but Brentford would charge a king's ransom. There you have it, man. Cancel Sterling's loan as well. Useless guy. I hear that. But being devil's advocate, are you gonna cancel? If that was the case, are we gonna cancel Raheem Sterling's loan without somebody being through the door? Or like you're dotting I's, crossing T's? I'm not too sure on that. Shout out, Graham. Also, when we fail to win the league or the champs this season, watch Saliba or Saka go Madrid in the summer. Boy, 102 check-in. 32 likes. Chat, you're not asked for bank details. Press the likes. We should have more reason to buy Kudus now. He isn't going to stay at West Ham for 2 years without European football. 85 million on the table, 50 up front, the rest to be paid in installments. That's true, but if you activate the release clause and Kudus wants to join us, in theory, West Ham's hands are tied. It is what it is. If you want to negotiate and not activate his release clause, then you're reliant on West Ham actually having a proper willingness to sell him. And why would you, where you look at Embuemo, where you look at Kudus, why would you want to say, even Ademola Lookman, especially with his contract at Atalanta, these clubs are still trying to achieve what they're trying to achieve with their season. You probably have a more willingness to sell in the summer. So it's a release clause and hope. I just want the squad and Arteta to show me answers to questions now. What do we look like when Saka gets injured? Answers coming soon. But it is what it is. We fall apart without Saka. Well, it's the club's duty to make sure that doesn't happen. We shouldn't really keep making excuses for Arteta. He really shouldn't be making some signings, and Edu clearly felt his voice wasn't being heard. I do think that on one hand, but I also feel that, because I've been saying that, and I also think there's incompetence just generally with Edu and everyone. Getting Embuemo versatile and effective. Problem is, we don't have anything deluded. We sold or loaned out 3 potential backups for Saka, and now we have nothing. The season's done. I don't think we're winning major honours. I think the League Cup is the best we can hope for. But I disagree with the season being done. And that's not me trying to do this Mighty Ducks thing. It's just literally not done. As a person, I don't like the woe is me thing. Whether we, God forbid, finish outside the top 4 or win the league, there's 20 plus Premier League games, however much in the champs, however much in the FA and League Cups. Get on with it, man, because the sun's still going to come up every day, innit? So it's like there's plenty of reasons to cry. There's a million reasons to be negative. And I'm not saying be positive for the sake of it, but if there is one thing to be positive, whatever that is, let's just focus on that and keep it moving. But yeah, it's Pete, man. Need to be at least 5 points off when Saka comes back. Then it's all on Arteta to make this work. I can't lie. Mohamed Kudus or Embuemo, who would you prefer, DG? Do you know what it is? I think Embuemo's a better fit, but I'd rather Kudus. And what I mean by that is, I can see a world of Embuemo off the left, off the right, playing through the middle. The Brentford Arsenal pipeline. I think that Thomas Frank and Arteta play very different, but I do think there's a lot of similarities. So I would say that. But then you look at Kudus, he was at Ajax. Allegedly, we're interested on him. We tried to get a couple Ajax players. Obviously, we're successful with Timber and, where Hato and Lisandro Martinez, we wasn't. So I can't say he's not. Obviously, Kudus himself is extremely versatile. And definitely now, the right-hand side is free for you to play. Boy, Reece Nelson, we saying? Long time no see, man. You want to cancel that Fulham loan? If we signed Isaac, he would become top 3 strikers in Arsenal history. I'd hope so. Isaac is cold, but the price tag summiting only. There you have it. Watch Rashford do the Welbeck and sign deadline day next month. You know what? Wait. Welbeck, one last dance. I wouldn't even be against it. I know it's mad. I hope we don't drop out the top 4, but you look at the league table, not that I look at it. Everything's quite close. Gakpo is on 9 goals and 3 assists this season. Decent return. Exactly, it's decent. I'm like, probably hasn't hit all the heights Liverpool have, but Liverpool would obviously feel the absence of Salah, but Jota is going to get goals. Diaz is going to get goals. Darwin Núñez 1 week is going to pee off Liverpool fans, and then Darwin Núñez is a sort to stink up the place for 4 or 5 games. The most important game of Liverpool season, he'll bag, and any other option. Arsenal don't have that. I like Jesus. You've done well this week. I don't know if I'm going to be saying these same things come March. Kai Havertz, I like you. I don't know. Trossard, quality player. I'll need to see that Trossard of last season with the double figures. I don't know, though. Raheem Sterling, I can have my criticism of you and whatnot, and you ain't been given a chance, but I don't know. At least Liverpool fans or Liverpool in terms of the depth there can answer some questions, and don't get twisted. I think the biggest winners connected to Liverpool, owing to where they are and what Arne Slot is doing, excluding obviously the fans, is FFG, because I'm sure Liverpool fans are still speaking about it, but I'd say the wider footballing community and the Sky Sports and all of this, when you deep it, FFG has got away with murder. You gave a new manager walking in the door after Jurgen Klopp with, 3 players' contracts running down. Liverpool fans have always had questions about certain areas of depth. You gave him no signings, and the one signing you bought has been a dud. Chiesa can't stay fit, and he's not in the match day squad. I'm not saying Arne Slot don't rate him, but I've seen him playing with the under-21s. Did Arne Slot really want that, or is it a thing of just get in? Can we look to sign attackers in an upward trajectory instead of attackers in a slump or form? I'm with that. And even, you got Elliot. Curtis Jones can play in a bunch. Curtis can play in the 10, in the 8. Obviously, it's not Mo Salah or whatever, but he can do something out wide. It is what it is, man. Complaining about squad availability is inexcusable from Arteta. His choice not to sign attackers. He made a similar comment after dropping points at the bridge. Nightmare 8 weeks, he said. Suspiciously absent Jonathan David links. You know what that means, DG boy. I must admit, part of the I want a striker, and that obviously opens up the door to players playing out wide. But with the Saka thing, part the striker thing till the summer now. Unless I wake up and Isaac, Gyökeres, Sesko, based on the club wanting them kind of strikers, we've signed them in January. Part that off now, man. Focus on bringing in a winger now. Feels like one of them things where we'll be linked with everyone in January and sign no one. You know what time it is, man. A couple players will come back. There'll be some form. Whether Saka comes back later or earlier, there'll be a report at some point from. I'm willing to bet on it actually from a month's time. So the 23rd of Jan, there'll be some level of report saying Saka's progress is ahead of schedule to some degree. I think we actually need to sign someone. We know Arteta wanted Nico Williams, Sesko, and Hato. Wouldn't be surprised he goes back in on these. It's surely them signings there, all the summer stuff. Oh, my Marmush would be good, could play a lot of roles. Different rule for a loan outside an EPL. So there is something, but then who you loaning outside? Okay, so Colomani, it could happen. By the way, is Edu not going to Notts no more? That guy, man, nobody rates him. Well, he's not going to Nottingham Forest now. Something changed. Why aren't we giving Heathen minutes if he's so highly rated by everyone? Talked about that, man. Personally, wouldn't be against Ethan filling in for Saka and seeing how it goes. But yeah. Mikel Arteta on if the club will sign a winger. I don't know. My intention right now is within the team to get the best out of what we have. What is outside is not in our control. I mean, it's basics. Everything is in your control in terms of recruitment because, you might have been short-handed, but the club is not going to sign or consider signing someone without you. Outside, to me, I see that as whether these players are available, if there's a player we genuinely believe, all of that is outside of our control. If there might be a player that we genuinely think can help us, their club, whether that club wants to sell or not, that is outside of our control. All you can do today is have conversations with those that make recruitment decisions when training's done and work on finding a solution for us to tick over while Saka isn't here. And Brem will be good in January. DG Nabil Fekir could come to Arsenal. Remember, Aouar, Turkey is getting to Real Betis. I said it. Nabil Fekir, what a summer that was. Aouar, going back. What a summer that was where we were linked with him and Partey, man. It is what it is. I'm done with Kudus. Go after Omar Mush. You won't regret it. You know what? If I was Salah, He should be banging on FFG's door saying the last Egyptian you signed was great. Go get my boy. I'm convinced we're not bringing anyone in. Kudus would be the one for me. Drop the bag on a left winger instead. People are not using their brains. No way we sign a top right winger that will be happy to play second fiddle to Saka. Use Jesus Martinelli there for the time being. I hear that. And Buemo has 10 goals this season. He ain't going to be cheap. Exactly. But these guys, these Mbuemos, who, like, whether we get them or not, Mbuemo, we've said several names. Mbuemo, Kudus, Nico Williams, Adamola Lookman, insert any name I've missed out. Bro, none of these guys are going to be cheap. None of them. None of them. Good players very rarely are cheap. We can get on to Kai Havertz, but Arteta wanted you, and he's one of your key players. That was not cheap. Declan Rice was not cheap. You know, yeah, I wish there was a little Monaco or Leo about where, you know, remember when Leo had like, who did they have? They had Gabriel Magalhaes, Pepe, I know, Rafael, Osimhen. We need to kind of find one of these clubs that's housing these kind of talents, man, and get things done. Brighton, allow us, man. Loan us your scouts for a sec. Shout out Back of the Net podcast. Make sure you're following. Big up as always, brother. I think we can get through this. We have to stay positive. I'm staying positive, and we have no choice but to get through it. But I'm not saying you're saying this. I'm not just going to be negative or positive just for the buzzwords. Like, all we can do is move, innit? I think Semenya is the one we should go for this Jan, and then add more come January. You know what? Where Anton Semenyo is concerned, Areola, you're not only Spanish like Mikel Arteta. I've bigged you up on your football on my platform. You're from the same region of Spain as Mikel Arteta. Sort us out, man. Sort us out, man. Looking at it, do you know what? 16 appearances, 5 goals, 1 assist. That's great. 24 years of age. It's contracted until 2029, though. And obviously, you can make offers that a club can't refuse. And if Semenyo says, I want to leave Bournemouth, then these are factors. But you can't bully the smaller Prem clubs anymore. We live in a day and age where, who was it? I'm sure it was for Zanolio. Bournemouth are going toe-to-toe with AC Milan. Like, it's kind of a level playing field where players are concerned, man. Kudus hype needs to stop. West Ham are ish, and he's partially responsible. Bowen is always carrying the team, bro. He's just another Rashford. Anyone who gets him is going to 100% regret. Yeah, okay. That don't really make sense, but I hear it, man. Cancel Sterling's loan and promote Butler or Adeji. I mean, him, Kyle and Edwards, I'm not saying they're the guys, but their contracts are running down, and you'd imagine you see them on the bench at the very least. Recall Nelson, boy. Just pre it, and Buemo is on 45 grand over twice what Tony was on before the move. Foot was crazy sometimes. Probably depends when they signed. I would love Buemo, man. Or Kudus. There's not many in the names you lot are saying that I wouldn't take at Arsenal. I don't think Kudus is a great fit, but I think somebody said it there, you know. And again, I think Kudus's favoured position is probably off the right. You're not doing that with Saka, so that probably rules that out. Semenyo would be good, but boy, I'm not on the Rashford thing. Listen, if we did sign Rashford, I think everybody deserves the fan support. I'd support you. You play for the club, you know, and I'm open to be proven wrong. I'm not on it. Oh yeah, Nelson is injured. Safe. Oh man, DG same. I'm on that. Too many fans have this defeative attitude. Nothing ever goes right if we win. Nothing. It is what it is. We know who needs to take accountability. Support the team to the end. There you have it, man. Do Arsenal finish ahead of Chelsea this season? A finish ahead of what? Because I'm not too sure. If you're talking ahead of the Premier League, like just organically where the teams are in the Prem, I'm not aware. But, you know, Chelsea look like a team with unique qualities. Maresca's doing very well. Based on what I've heard from you lot, you look at the title race, the top 4 race, the race for the top 10, relegation, nothing is decided. So until anything is mathematically impossible, anything can happen. And it also depends, man. You know what? Finish ahead of what? You could be talking about, what could you be talking about? You could be talking about bare things. You could be talking about accountancy, sustainability, academy grads, insert any other PR I've got here, people. I think FFG know more about football than the fans. They trusted the youth that club develop, and so the slot. Yeah. But then you've got 3 main players' contracts running down. Liverpool fans have always complained about their depth, and you saw it a few years ago, and they just don't seem like they're happy. They've probably got a killing because you got a manager in Arne Slot that, I'm not going to say people don't miss Klopp, but everything's going well at the moment. You didn't give him a summer transfer market. They're running away with it. And they stand in good stead to take advantage of what Arsenal couldn't in that City falling off. Good Jesus or good Saka. Good Saka. That's a killer list of players. Williams, Sesko, and Hatto. Immense transfer window. I'll be saying we're going to win the league if we sign that. I'd be a lot more optimistic. Marmoush would be a forward-thinking signing for once. There's so much talent in Liga, man. You got to do the political thing, man. You have to. Now I see why you're called deluded. You know, I get that all the time. You're either not so deluded or you're so deluded. Just make sure you're smashing the like button. If I had £1 for every time that was said, boy, I don't think Arsenal fans would have to worry about a winger being signed to people. I get one in, I donate towards Arsenal, man. Is what it is. We need to find good talents, get them in for 10 to 30 million instead of overpaying West Ham, Bournemouth. Yeah. Boy, as I said at the start of this, people, my sympathy goes to the teammates of Bukayo Saka or anyone because they're not picking the transfers. My sympathy goes to the fans. My sympathy goes to anyone who's got an injury. Mikel Arteta, the party they do, the Cronkies. I have sympathies for you, but the recruitment and the knock-on effects and consequences of signing and not signing and addressing areas, I have none. So it is what it is, man. I must admit, for Saka on a personal level, I'm upset. But what it means for Arsenal, I don't think it's changed too much of how I feel about our club at this moment, or specifically our challenge for the title, because it's like these are not scenarios or these are not issues that we've just started talking about this season. So it's like, love the club, gonna follow the club, you know. Don't get it twisted. I don't care. I care Saka's not there, but I don't care that he's not there. And any player that's feeling sorry for themselves, go out there and still do a thing because people are coming for our heads now. So I still think we just have to stand up tall, man, really. But I'll be surprised if we do what I would like Arsenal to do. Not forget the transfer markets. If we're going to have the season I would like to have, I think you need a miracle. You need a lot of external factors to fall in. Yeah, man, you know, you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I'm not going to be naive. Clearly, the club had a plan, but whether the plan worked or was the right plan is another thing, people. So Gordon would be amazing. Wood Green Gooner, what a name. Big up my fellow North Londoner. Anthony Gordon would be amazing, but ain't he just signed a new deal and you're talking this? My guy DG back again, been off socials for a couple of weeks. Man said M charge for King Guy. Hopefully not, but big up yourself. I'm still expecting Arsenal to stack W's from here on. The moment we fell is the moment the internet celebrates. What's your score prediction for the Arsenal-Ipswich game? Ipswich going to be tough, man. Amari Hutchinson might have something for us. I'm going to say 3-1 Arsenal. And don't forget, people, Boxing Day. We're watching all the games together, you know, from 12:30 all the way to, pardon me, I think Liverpool-Leicester's the last one. We're going to be watching all of that. So I think you can turn on your notifications as well, people. They're all out there. I've done all the thumbnails. Let me try to do this off the top of my head. I'm sure City, Everton, I could be wrong. Chelsea, Fulham. Wolves, Man United. I just said it. Yeah, Liverpool, Leicester. So yeah, we're watching bare stuff. And then the next day is Arsenal versus Ipswich, man. Thoughts on Bueno? I like him, you know. I don't know if you're going to adapt to the league. You're more, obviously you're good 1v1, but I must admit, if we sign an inside forward or anything of that ilk, I kind of want somebody like the Sakas, the Salahs, someone that they're not traditional wingers, or Son, for example, like they're not traditional wingers, but they're more on, they're closer to that than him. I think he's almost like a wide playmaker. It's more about playing neat little 1-2s and running off the ball and being good in tight spaces, etc., etc. DG, reckon United will be in a relegation battle. Look at the next 3 games: Wolves at the Molineux, Newcastle and Liverpool. Listen, the way they're playing, they could be food at this moment in time, and it could be a dark season, but I don't think Man United will get relegated, man. We are just red Tottenham with a few unimportant trophies, to be honest. I don't know about that. Maybe the Arsenal you support. Like last time I checked, I ain't seen Spurs win the league, let alone invincible, let alone them win it at the Emirates with their former captain. Allow it. I do think, though, essentially we're doing nonsense like them. But yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if you could call be at this moment in time between us and United, record holders of the FA Cup, the Invincibles, and all of these sort of things, winning the Premier League at their ground. And if you don't want to talk about their ground, when the battles were going on with Sir Alex Ferguson, I saw my team win it at Old Trafford. Man United won the battle. We won 1-2 wars, so it's be easy, man. Martinelli has been cooking recently. He was also so efficient off the right. Well, that's a good option. You can guess. I don't know if it persists, but if you do genuinely feel that Martinelli has been doing that, and you know, if we assume that this good situation Jesus finds himself in, obviously Saka's is still a blow, but maybe it's happened at the right time. I mean, I don't want to be disingenuous, but I think every Arsenal fan would trade any positives you got around Martinelli right now, or any uptake in Gabriel Jesus' form, just for Saka to stay fit. But Gordon would be amazing, man. But Newcastle mid-season, he's just signed a new contract. You're gonna have to overpay, and the only time overpaying works is when the player does their job. Nobody cares. Like, nobody cares necessarily about Rice's price tag or Caicedo's price tag at this moment in time, because they're doing the job. That's the risk you take. That's all anyone cares about. And but hey, for Arteta, we're going to see what you're made of. You're going to have to find solutions for Mikel Arteta's players. We're going to see what you lot are made of, because we're going to need protagonists. There's no Saka to save you. I'd extend that to the recruitment staff. We're going to see if you can pull a rabbit out the hat. And, Josh, Stan, Mrs. Cronky, whoever is involved, we're going to see if you lot really care. Because, yeah, you've put money down, but you could play devil's advocate, and you lot have to forgive me. I'm just purely an armchair expert and a simpleton. But you could argue, if you're the owner of the club, you truly believe in Arteta, you gave him a new deal, you've flirted and not got over the line with the Prem, you can see that your star player, the most marketable player in this club, but Bukayo Saka's picked up an injury, you're trying to chase Liverpool. You could argue, if you cared, might just drop 1-2 bands, but seeing is believing, man. Like, we're just going to have to take it game by game. Whatever shall happen, innit? Really and truly. Like, what more can I say? Or do go get a winger in Jan. I think with Saka out, we play Martinelli on the right. He was pivotal for the 3 goals on Saturday. Do you know who hasn't got enough praise for their involvement in a couple of the goals? Gabriel Magalhaes. Go and watch what he does for Jesus first. Go and watch what he does, obviously before Partey puts the ball down, and go and look at his involvement in what, I can't remember if it was Declan Rice's or Martinelli's, but go and look at the pass he plays. Big up Magalhaes, man. What do you think of Martinelli, Havertz, Jesus forward line? Could interchange positions throughout the match. We ain't got nothing else. If Ethan isn't going to start right wing, then you're going to have to run that, man. We shouldn't just sign anyone, but really and truly, is there not a player that we can get that can add something to this squad? Really? If we had a prime Saka on the right, Robert Perez on the left, and you had, I don't know, if Alexis Sanchez is in the squad and somebody else great is in the squad. If we had 4 great wingers, then I could hear it. But there really isn't someone where we don't know. It's unquestioned, it's inconsistent on the left-hand side. There really isn't someone that can offer something on the right, really. Toby, I mean, we went through it at the start. Arteta's spoken. He's been saying weeks. Some articles in ITK say as positive as 4 weeks. Some say as long as 12 weeks. Oh, no, man. Yes, bro. He was blocking off the defender in the first goal. The ping to Trossard as well. Gabriel, best centre-back in the world. I don't know about that, but he's lit. Oh, man. I would love for us to find an Alexis Sanchez. I would forget all of that. I'd love for us to find the Arshavin. I'd love for us to find a Santi Cazorla to play 8. Or a Nasri. And what I mean by that is these players could play out wide. Like Santi was playing out wide in the beginning days of his Arsenal career. He's playing everywhere, to be fair. Oh, man. It is what it is, man. It is what it is, people, man. I hope I've keeping you lot entertained for this close to 90 minutes. Somebody said, are we playing Football Manager today? We will be playing, man. So make sure if you're on Twitch, notification bells. We don't have to deal with those injuries because I've got a serious team. Ironically, on Football Manager, we're going to be playing Liverpool. I'm going to get a quick bite to eat and then we'll probably load that up. Again, people, any talking points, etc., I'll get vids out. Trying to get some vids sorted for you lot for Christmas as well. As usual, appreciate you lot support across YouTube, across Twitch. I appreciate you lot's difference of opinions. The support, I can't put into words, man, especially as we get towards the end of the year. And, if we don't link up before Christmas, then happy Christmas as well. Big up you lot, man. If you haven't hit the like button, subscribe, or turn on your notification bells, you know what to do. Now, I know I'm a fullback, but if we're looking for individual brilliance in the absence of Bukayo Saka, Arteta.
Against this right back, Charlie, definitely.